Look how far we've come, all the things we've done. Did it all with love, beauty from the bottom up. All I want is you, you're my favorite view. But there's nothing new, girl, you made my heart beat.
And we are back.
We are back, Bumble Bitches.
Season 3, episode 3 of the To Be Better podcast. This is going to be a mouthful this whole season. It's going to take a little bit of time to get past the whole season 2 episode, whatever. But we're doing the thing.
We are.
So today's episode is brought to you by Better Built Dogs. For those of you who don't know, Dakota has trained Ivy and is currently training our dog Bane and has done very well by us. You can find him on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not sure if his website is up yet. Better Built Dogs. Go check him out. So I don't think that we have a whole lot of things to get into prior. I do want to touch on the new format that we're doing on Patreon.
Ooh,
So
yeah, I'm excited about that.
Let me do the disclaimer first about Patreon so that they know, and then you can talk about.
Okay.
So for those of you who are listening to the podcast on YouTube or watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple, whatever podcast you're listening to, we record all of these episodes live in front of our Patreon community. Sometimes it's a big live, sometimes it's a small live, but it's always done live. The only things that don't get recorded live are the standalone exclusive content episodes. We just upload those, but we are adding another level of content for our Patreon on the ultimate tier, which is the $30 tier.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
And that looks like a live stream. We're not sure when. Our life is kind of up in the air right now, but it's going to be Friday nights. And it is going to be a women's focused live stream through the $30 tier on Patreon. My husband will be present for those lives. My goal is to do one every Friday. I'm not going to promise that though, because like I said, a lot in our lives is up in the air right now. And my goal, we were watching a documentary and it was about Betty Crocker, and they were growing the brand of Betty Crocker. And at that time, radio was massive. And they hired a woman to host a radio show where other women would call in and she would answer questions. Life advice, perspective, all these other kinds of things. And that's my vision for what I want these lives to be akin to.
Do we want to try to do the live call on that?
I was thinking about that. If we were able to, I think that would be really dope.
Okay.
Because I don't want to take just one phone call. I would like to be able to take multiple calls. I'm not looking to do in-depth Dr. Phil therapy sessions. I'm looking to have maybe 20, 25-minute conversations with somebody, answer a quick question, and then next one, yeah.
That would be cool. I think our internet at home can handle that most of the time.
I think so.
And that's the stipulations of it not happening. If we have a date night or we're doing something out of town, travel,
or
whatever.
the children are at the house.
Right, or internet. So there are things that could prevent that live stream from happening, but I can't imagine there would be fewer than 2 a month.
Right, like 2 would be the minimum.
Yeah. Also, Zach just confirmed that betterbuiltdogs.com is live. His website is up. betterbuiltdogs.com.
Beautiful.
Plural, dogs, not dog. All right. So what kind of emails are we doing today? Are we doing feel goods? Are we problem solving?
I don't want to jump into that just yet.
Okay.
Because I want to touch on my Women's Thrive group. It's already half sold out. My private women's group, the Deux Femmes, completely booked. It's 30 women. My Women's Thrive, the $50 price point for a private women's group, is half full. I have about 15 slots left. So any ladies who are interested in being a part of a private group that I am managing, mentoring, and doing group calls with, book prescriptions, we're doing challenges. All of that's on our Patreon. Highly recommend checking it out because the spots go quick.
Yes, I do. Every time you get a drop on that women's group, it fills.
Within 24 hours, yeah.
Yeah, you're fucking killing it with that.
I'm trying.
You are killing it with that. The amount of work that you put into it is admirable, right? Because you got your Kindle on you constantly.
Yeah, it's actually sitting over here.
So, we'll watch TV sometimes and you're making notes and you still read like enjoyable reading, not just work reading, but I see the work you're doing. It's a lot. So I'm proud of you for that. I think it's fucking amazing what you're doing.
I like hearing that from you,
yeah.
That you're proud of me, yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Of course. You're doing the thing.
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
Somebody asked real quick if they're on the $20 tier, what would they do to upgrade to the 30? So you still get partner access on the $30 tier.
Yes, quarterly.
On the $30 tier, you get a quarterly t-shirt drop. I actually need to get that set up for December so that we can get those hopefully shipped out by January.
Okay.
So that'll be coming in the next week. And I still got to design the shirt. Speaking of shirts, the Kool-Aid shirt's live on the website. So for everybody who thought the whole To Be Better cult thing was funny, we got
the thing going.
It's up. The t-shirt is on there. Your partner will get access to the Discord and all of the content that we're doing. What they will not get is the extra t-shirt.
Right.
In the event that we're doing live calls, because the live Friday night things, because you're part of the $30 tier, they will have access to watch that.
But they won't be able to do it from their own device.
Right. Correct. So, they might be able to do it from their own device.
Yeah.
If we post, yes, they can.
Okay.
If I post the link the way that I normally do to the Ultimate Chat and just tagged everyone, the Ultimate Chat, the Men and Women's Public group, and the Women's Thrive. Women's Thrive, I don't think we'll get it. I'm wrong on that.
No,
So
Women's Thrive will not get
just
that.
the private groups and the $30 tier will get access to the live calls.
And then in regards to partners getting access to the Discord, is it the full Discord or are we just talking about the Ultimate Chat?
It's the full Discord.
Love that.
Yep.
Janae actually just said in the comments, we are actually a little over half sold for the Thrive group.
That's
we are
insane.
less than half. We have less than half spots available. However, I should have worded that. You guys know what I mean. I'm trying not to cough. Excuse me.
Danish said the baddest of badass, and he said she probably deserves a second iPad to keep at the studio.
Thank you.
I would absolutely buy you a second iPad if you needed it, but you use your Kindle more than your iPad.
I do utilize my Kindle a lot.
I think your iPad at this point is strictly for reading emails.
Yeah. The reason I had the iPad in the first place is because I was a tattoo apprentice.
Right.
And I was making stencils and working on color theory and all these other kinds of things. And
Procreate.
my profession changed.
Yep. We can only sell your iPad and buy you another Kindle. Can you access your emails from your Kindle?
I haven't tried.
Kat said I would like to join the women's group. How would you feel now that you have been at 30 members in the women's group and it's held for the last 2 weeks? Do you feel like 30 people is overwhelming? Do you think it's too much? Do you
For me to handle?
Yeah.
No, because at this point I'm up to, because it's 30 women plus the women I have helped managing the group.
Right.
So
What do you call them?
women tours.
Women tours? Yeah, we
Yeah.
call them mentors in our group.
Yeah, they're women tours. And then in the Women's Thrive, we're over half sold on that. So I'm going to say 17. So that right there puts me up to 50 women. I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel like I am dropping balls or anything is slipping through the cracks. You're laughing because I said balls. I'm also making it a point to,
I'm laughing because I almost said some really inappropriate shit and I'm trying to
say it.
No.
Don't deprive me.
No.
Oh, wow. I like the way you moved your mouth when you said that no to me. Can I get it one more time, but in slow motion? Thanks for that.
I couldn't even say no because then you would have won, right? So I had to switch it.
Yep. So my concern with adding more women is there just being too many women. I'm not worried about me not being able to manage that or feel like I'm drowning because with the private women's tier, all 30 women can reach out to me privately on WhatsApp for one-on-one mentoring. And that has not been overwhelming for me at all. I was a little bit worried about that. But all of the women are super respectful of my boundaries. They understand that I'm busy, and when they have my undivided attention, they feel that. So
That's what's up.
yeah. But my concern is our group calls are already lasting an hour to an hour and a half. There was one group call that we had going on for 3 hours, and I've already split up the Do Femme chat into twice a week phone calls to help alleviate that. And I'm just worried. In that group chat, I popped up that chat yesterday and I was 116 messages behind.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Opened it up again this morning and I was 78 messages behind. So that chat is always going off, and I'm worried that women are going to start feeling like they're being missed.
Yeah.
or what they have to say isn't important because nobody reacted to it or nobody responded to it.
I get that.
I have thought about creating a second Doe Femme chat at the same price point and just having a separate group with 30 women in there, and they can have their own group experience separate from the first one.
If you did that, would you still keep the same 2-week calls, or would you do one week or one call a week for each group?
I think what I would do is I would just integrate them all into the same phone calls.
And just have one big ass group call?
2 group calls a week, yeah. Have them all coming in because some women only make it on the Sunday calls and some women only make it on the Wednesday calls.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know for a fact I have friends that have mentor programs that have 100 to 200 people a call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of them are there to listen. Most people don't want to interact. Most people want to hear what's going on and take, I can use that. I can utilize that. Right.
Yeah.
And if it's something that's dire, I think that they would be more likely to bring up the conversation. But being able to message you whenever they want removes the need to have that one-on-one group time conversation.
Yeah.
Because they can get individualized conversation with you through WhatsApp and a text message, and then still be a part of the calls in the event that they want to listen in or whatever. I have a men's group call tomorrow at noon, I think.
I do too, yeah. But yeah, that's just something I've been tossing around in my mind, is creating a second higher tier group chat. Having all those women filter through into WhatsApp, having a second chat, like I said, for those 30 women. I don't know. I'll talk to Janae about it, get her opinion on things.
I mean, I'm not trying to push for anything more than what you're doing.
No,
I'm just curious how your workload looks and how stressed out you are with everything. And are you at a sweet spot? Yeah.
I'm not stressed out at all. I really feel like I could take on another 30 women, but my main concern is the current women in the group feeling like they're being overshadowed or being left behind or forgotten.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was, and I'm saying this because it was funny to me in the moment. But we were on a group call, and one of the women had her cell phone muted, and she was like, "Yeah, the group calls are getting massive. The other day we went on for 3 hours," and I was like, "Oh yeah, see, that's why I divvied it up into the 2 times a week."
Right.
And like that's my concern, is because there's so many women, it's going to take longer that there's not even going to be an interest in wanting to be on the phone calls anymore.
Well, they just leave.
Yeah.
I
very much encourage the Irish goodbye.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to take it personal. When you guys are done with the call, just log out. We'll be here until the people who need to be helped are helped. Like, you don't have to stay here. I don't feel bad about that shit. When I was jumping in other people's calls, if I got bored, I would just leave and shoot them a text and be like, "Hey man, it was fun. Talk to you next week." Like, I don't fucking need to be here for this. So, but I also don't get value from all of those groups. And I've joined a lot of them trying to figure out how to make this work for me in a way that's going to provide value to the guys that are paying me to give them mentorship. And I think that what we're doing is the right formula, you know, because they do have access to us one-on-one if they need it. And then with the to be better or to be focused, I think is going to really give a whole lot more personalized attention. What are you doing over there? You keep looking at the chat.
Because Zach and Janae are just saying things and I care about their opinions.
Some unnamed motherfuckers keep doing new shit. I don't know who that was for, but...
Us? Did I miss it? Were you being sarcastic? No. Was I Drax just then?
Oh, he said that, not me.
Right, no, but did you know that it was us and you were like, I don't know who he's talking to, trying to like dodge that?
We're all doing new shit.
A Peach and Zach live would go hard. Just autism and echolalia. Oh, you're damn right. Be over here making whale noises and shit.
We could try to get Jay and Krista on an episode while we're in Vegas.
That would be
fun. They
fun.
said they would wear their onesies, and we have to do a Christmas episode anyways.
We do. Oh, I have to pack my bow for that.
And we got a big-ass fucking suite at the Aria.
We did.
So I have room to actually set up the podcast, and I'm bringing the equipment.
Perfect.
So a lot of things to figure out. Today's been a fucking interesting day.
Why do you say that?
Because I have not stopped since this morning.
Jeez. Yeah, my husband is the biggest hussy out here being a cock tease. You're darn right. I can't read your hand. I don't know sign language. That's funny.
Ah! Every time, that's what I see.
I love it.
Anyways. Are we ready to work?
Yeah, we can.
Let's do some work, and then we can go home and watch Superman.
Oh God, I'm so into it. I am really enjoying my life without smoking.
Yeah?
Yeah, like I have my little teacup.
It's not fucking tea. You're drinking wine out of a straw, babe.
But okay, the size of the cup matters. So I can get a half cup of wine in my little teacup. And last night I had 2 glasses of wine and we were watching Superman and Lois, and I'm like, I'm Lois. Superman and Lois, and doing the thing and having fun, and we watched Anchorman, and
It's the first time you've been up past like 10 o'clock in a long time.
I stayed up until 1 a.m. reading last night.
I know you did.
Yeah.
Because I turned the TV off and you rolled over and picked up your Kindle.
I did. Yeah, I was not ready for bed. My life is changing without cannabis in it. And
In a good way, it seems.
in a really good way. And I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to it. I might do edibles, but the thought of smoking again doesn't do it for me.
If you take the entire month of December off until we get to Vegas,
Yeah.
it won't take a whole lot while you're out there to have a good time.
Oh, you right. You right.
Just one of those little drinks will do the job.
Let's do that. I'll hold out till Vegas. I can do that.
funny. We'll have to not do the dispensary thing and do the actually organic grown thing.
Yeah.
We have the ability to do that. So
Okay.
anyhow,
But yeah, I've been enjoying myself. This is nice.
yeah.
I really enjoyed Anchorman 2 last night.
Anchorman 1.
Anchorman 1. We need to watch Anchorman 2. Never seen Anchorman, but I've always used the gifts of I'm in a glass case of emotion, and well, that escalated quickly. Escalated, not escalated. Never knew the context of why those things were a thing. It was Will Ferrell. I know Will Ferrell's funny, and it very much described my emotions in the moment when I sent those gifts. Seeing it play out in the movie, I screamed. I screamed on the couch. I was cackling to know that Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy is in a glass case of emotion because he threw a burrito at Jack Black's face while he was on a motorcycle, and he was so pissed off that he punt kicked his dog off a bridge. I was dying. Some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. And then to know that, well, that escalated quickly, was due to an Anchorman fight where Ben Stiller's a Hispanic man. Funny as shit. His hair was very glorious in that fight. And watching Steve Carell be Brick, watching him hold that grenade just screaming.
Yep.
Yep.
Brick killed a guy.
Stabbed him in the heart. I can do that, Peach. I say that a lot, don't I?
You do.
That makes me feel good.
It's better than saying I can't.
Right?
Yep. My favorite part of that entire movie is when that dude is like, after he says, "Go fuck yourself, San Diego," and the guy is like, "Wow, you were my hero, Ron. You poop.
I hate you.
You poop mouth. I hate you, Ron Burgundy."
That was so fucking funny. The love lamp, that killed me too. Yeah. Are you just looking at things in the room and saying that you love them?
I don't know why we're yelling. All right. You will eat the cat poop. So stupid. That movie was a lot better when I was younger. It was pretty fucking dumb last night.
Yeah. I found it funny as hell. Yeah. I like that kind of humor though.
Yeah, I don't.
See, that's the kind of movies that I enjoy for my escapism. I'm not trying to watch... Like, when I want stupid comedy, that's the stupid comedy I want. Sharknado is stupid comedy. Yeah.
My problem is I don't like slapstick humor. And I almost feel bad. I mean, they were like, later we find out that I have an IQ of 48. And I'm like, great. So now I know you're mentally retarded and I'm going to be laughing at you the entire movie. Neat.
Yeah. So that bothers you now?
No, I mean, a little bit. It feels unfair.
I think they could have definitely done that differently.
Yeah.
I think that they could have...
You know that movie would have never gotten made.
Oh, God,
today.
no. Are you kidding me? No. What? 10 minutes into that movie, they made a joke about something I looked at and like they would never make this.
Yeah. Christina Applegate was the slutty daughter in Married with Children.
That killed me.
She was talking so much shit.
So mad. I was so mad over that jazz flute scene. First off, he wasn't even blowing into the mouthpiece properly. I've played the flute. That bitch is hard. Not even angling it right. And then he drinks out of a cup. You only have 4 fingers on the flute, homie. There's at least 12 finger pads. That's not happening. Unrealistic. Yep, I was pretty peeved about that. You know what Zach's saying? My husband laughs at me a lot too. I have an email pulled up.
Okay.
What?
I just, you were making a whole lot of flute jokes and it being hard and it taking 2 hands. And I mean, I've just got an endless supply of skin flute jokes. I'm going to let it go though.
It's too late. It already did the thing.
We have to find a shirt for me for when we're in Vegas.
I was looking this morning a little bit, trying to find you a nice button up. I don't know what kind you're looking for. Are you looking for like an Old West looking? Are you looking for a flannel? Are you wanting patterns?
I want something that's going to match all that silver I just got, all that turquoise and silver I got. And my hat,
we're going to be in the desert.
My boots, right? So something southwestern.
Are you wearing the ones that you got last time?
The snake skin. I'm gonna bring them.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring my wed.
I need to get some green Brillo pads and scrape the bottom of them so they're not so slick. But yeah, I'm gonna go out. If we're gonna do a photo shoot while I'm out there, while we are out there, I want to make sure that I am presentable because the last time we went, we did a whole lot of you photos and not a lot of us photos, and I regret it.
Yeah.
So.
I almost said I'm glad you regret that, but that sounds really shitty. So let me rephrase.
No, it's cool.
It's
cool. I get it.
No, I don't want you to live with that, babe.
I know what you're trying to convey.
I want you to be in photos with me.
Right.
I love having memories of us.
I get it. I know what you're trying to convey. I wouldn't have taken that personally.
Dope.
I would have fucked with you about it, but I wouldn't have taken it bad.
I don't know if I could have taken that fuckery with my misspeech. All right, continuing on. Or we haven't started.
We haven't even started.
I don't know what you said. Skin flute, and now I'm all fine.
Okay.
All right. So this email is called "Moving Past Infidelity." Hello. Out of respect for my spouse, I would like us to remain anonymous, including email address.
Well, you mustn't be new here.
I recently came across your podcast and really enjoy your content and felt compelled to reach out to you for resources. Recently, I found out my wife of almost 8 years was in various emotional and online relationships, including exchange of explicit content.
She cheated.
She cheated.
So call it what it is. She cheated.
Yeah. One recently involved dates in person. However, she broke it off due to it feeling increasingly wrong prior to me finding out. When inquiring about reasons, it was, according to her, due to my withdrawal from her socially and emotionally during that time period, which was linked to some very hard years that I struggled with mental health resulting from my profession. I knew I was absent. We are high school sweethearts, and we have spent close to 2 decades in total together despite some of the separations we had in high school and early college. We have a young daughter together. I wish to move forward with our marriage and save it. What advice for both of us do you have in moving forward? How would you proceed? If already covered in an episode, can you point me towards which one? Thank you for your time. Your content has been very enlightening and has helped us during these times. And this is an editor's note. As this email was very short, I sent out a response with the links for a check-in video playlist. What follows is his wife's follow-up email.
Okay, before we move anywhere further, I just want to touch on the fact that he addressed that he had mental health issues. They had a lack of intimacy because of it.
Yeah.
If I am going through, if you are going through, because we know how prevalent the whole sex is more important to men than women conversation is. If you were going through a 2-year or 3-year bout of depression and you're going to therapy and it's something that you can't walk away from, right? Maybe he's hypothetical. Maybe he's the sole breadwinner and he's making $500,000 a year at this job, and he knows he's not going to be able to easily find another job, and he's putting out feelers and he's trying to make things work. And this year or two is a year or two of just mental health crisis that he can't just walk away from. He could. The choice is always there to do that. It would just blow your life up. If that was you and I would just suffer with you for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
You're going through it. I need to be understanding. I would still like to think that there would be occasional needs met in terms of sexuality. But I also, if you were like clinically depressed, crawled up in a ball, fetal position, can't get out of bed, like real depression, not just I'm sad, there'd be a whole lot of leeway given there. You know what I mean? Like, but there's a difference between just not being happy and actually being clinically depressed. I don't know. I just wanted to touch on that. I think it's kind of shitty that he knew he was going through some mental health shit. She obviously knew he was going through some mental health shit.
And nobody was doing anything about it.
Right. And instead of being the support system and being the crutch that he needed to lean on, she started talking to other dudes, right, and made it about her.
Yeah. All right. So are we going to get into the wife's email?
Sure.
Dear Chris and Peaches, hello. My husband emailed a few weeks ago to get some advice to help us move forward in our relationship. Backstory, he and I have been together on and off since high school.
Off and on since high school.
Well, that's not what he said.
That's correct. Correct.
He said that you guys were a little rocky in high school and early college, but since then y'all have been solid.
Yeah.
All right, so right off the bat, we got mismatching stories.
Well, this is perspective.
Right.
He views it as them being together for the last 20 years, and she views it as an off and on rocky relationship.
Man.
This is the importance of the check-ins.
Yeah. Every time we split was because I was living in an abusive household, and that was all I knew as a child. I felt like it was what I deserved, the abuse. Every time we split was because I was living in an abusive household. So you guys weren't living together?
Well, they were in high school. So in the beginning, if they were on and off again, she's blaming it on her home life.
Okay.
That's little kid shit though, right? Like
right.
You're a teenager still. You're in high school, you're a teenager.
Okay. So this isn't just talking the encompassment of the relationship. It's just, okay. Backstory, my dad was in and out of jail since he was 16 and had met my husband's father because of that. My father-in-law was once a correctional officer, and because of that, my dad had an issue with me being with my husband because he's a cop's son. He was my first love. We have been together straight through this time since around 2011.
What a stupid fucking statement.
Because he's a cop's son?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that tells me right away that dude is either still doing illegally shit or is fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah. Immature as fuck.
Right. I know a lot of police officers. I have a lot of friends who are police officers.
Yeah.
And I can have conversations about a lot of really sketchy shit in front of them. I know some police officers who do criminal shit. Having somebody in the family that's law enforcement goes a long fucking way.
Yes, it does. Because of him pushing me to better myself, I got over being anorexic and I had gotten over self-harm. I also got a college degree due to him pushing me knowing that I could do it. He had more faith in me than I had in myself. During college, we had one huge argument that I remember, and it was over a female friend that he had who was actively flirting and everything with him, and he was not shutting it down. He also communicated our arguments and issues with other female friends. After we graduated college, we moved on our own in like 2015, and he got his first nursing job. During that time, he started shutting me out emotionally and not communicating with me on what's going on in his head or at work, and spending 90% of his home time gaming if he was not sleeping. I had thought that it was something that I had done and had struggled with that alone and feeling isolated because we were living an hour away from all of our families.
What did you do about that?
Right?
Did you have a conversation about it? Did you convey like, hey, I'm fucking going through it also, and all you're doing is playing video games and I fucking miss you? Can we do something other than you game tonight? Can we go get dinner? Can we go watch a movie together? Can we just not game tonight and spend time on the couch? Like, did you have any type of conversations, or did it look like all you do is play video games?
I'm going to be honest, I don't know. Because all she said was, I had thought. So she came to her own conclusions. And that to me sounds like there was nothing happening there. That she was taking in information. She's the judge, the jury, and the executioner here.
Well, let's role play that real quick.
Okay.
Because video games are a thing. I play video games. Mm-hmm. Give me the incorrect way to tell me that you want me to play video and stop playing video games, and then give me the correct one. Give me the way that you think most people talk about it. How about that?
Okay.
Get nasty.
Okay, let me get into the mindset.
Okay.
I'm so healthy now.
Right?
I'm like, no, that's an I statement. No, that's an I statement. Okay. Okay, so I need to, like, am I just like initiating this? Have we been talking about this?
I've played video games every day from the time I got off of work until the time I went to bed for the last 3 months. Days off, I've been playing the video game. I've been into different games, and I've been
Okay.
playing to completion,
Okay.
achievement hunting, the
All
whole
right,
nine.
I'm ready. I'm over the fucking video games. I'm fucking over it. I'm miserable. I'm not happy. And you're not who I married. I don't know what this is, but something needs to happen or I'm leaving. I am 100% giving you an ultimatum right now.
Yeah. And how do you think that that would play out? Because in a situation where you were talking to me like that, like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Like, this isn't
Supposedly my husband.
This isn't how we talk to each other. And if you want me to stop playing video games, would you like to go outside and hang that fucking attitude on a hook and come back in here and try that again? Like,
Now you think I have an attitude?
we would be fighting, right? Now, give me the polite way to do it because you're getting a little worked up and I don't like it. Carrie said, I'm getting nervous there.
Babe, I miss you. I don't know what's going on with you, but there's distance here. And the man I fell in love with didn't play video games all the time. This is abnormal for your behavior, and I'm concerned. Is it something that I did? Is it situations outside? Is it family? Are you battling your own demons? What can I do?
Based off of his email, well, work has been a lot of stress lately. I'm going through it mentally and I'm fucking depressed. And this is what I'm using as escapism to not bring this shit into the house.
Is there something that we can do to supplement some of the gaming? Because I get that you're going through it. I am now by proxy going through it because my man's not okay. And when you're not okay, I'm not okay. I need more intimacy.
That's how that's supposed to look. There was no hostility. There was no fuck you. There was pure concern. And I miss you. That's how those conversations should look. And when we get emails and people are like, we've had these conversations over and over again, the second scenario is not how I perceive that in my head. Because if you have the conversation the right way, you don't have to have them over and over again.
Right. I'm waiting for my heart to stop.
That's because that's not who we are.
I don't live my life like that anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's exhausting. Trying to think of ways to purposely hurt somebody with my own words.
So the amount of people who don't have to think about it because that's just who they are and the way that they have learned to communicate. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. That is why we tell people to check-ins over and over and over again. In the beginning of our courtship, we would have had conversations like that if we would have actually ran into like real problems. Because even when we first had a disruption, the first disruption was
6 or 7 hours long.
very volatile.
Yeah.
Right? And it was still from a place of we really don't want to do this to each other. But there was still some shit said that was out of the side of the neck. And like,
yeah,
it still was not a great communication. But the more you do the check-ins and the more you understand how to talk to your person and what makes them tick, it's a whole lot easier to just have a smooth, hey, this is what I'm going through right now. Like, I kind of need you to be there for me. If I told you that I was going through it, I'm mentally fucked up and like, this is my escapism. And you're like, well, I don't fucking care. I'm sick of this shit. Well, fuck me. Now I have a horrible work life and a horrible home life. Now,
what about my happiness?
Now the escapism is looking like 45 ACP and not an Xbox controller, right? Because nobody fucking gives a shit about me. Why should I give a shit about me, right? Like it really cascades.
Continuing on.
No, because this is a great reason and a great time for me to plug the Patreon for you guys. We're recording, like I said earlier, in front of our Patreon community. And here are some of the comments right now. All of these are from Zach, who is part of the To Be Better podcast. But it says, I miss having time with you. I'm not sure what is going on. I would like to have more time with you. If you are going through something, I want to help you however I can. If there is not anything in particular, can we try to figure out a way to balance our time so that both of our needs are being met? You hear how fucking smooth that is compared to the back and forths? You guys are missing a lot by not being in the chat.
I really think I can make it as an actress. Mel Gibson is still making movies, right?
He's old as fuck.
I feel like he would be on board. He's done some pretty outrageous shit these last few years.
Just
Going against the grain.
Yeah, it's
Pissing
not just the
people
last
off.
few years. It's been like the last 20.
Yeah?
Yeah, Hollywood tried to cancel his ass a while ago.
Really? He has, after these recent events, disclosed to me that the issues he faced at work, being a critical care RN, then working in COVID critical care unit, he felt that he was shielding me and using his games as a coping mechanism to avoid troubling me.
So this happened after the fact. This was disclosed after the fact.
Yeah, because there was no inquiry as why it was happening.
Right. Something to really consider. I don't fucking trust people.
Right.
And when I hear things like that being said after the fact, is it that you didn't know how to process it in the moment and that's what you're assigning to it now? Or are you using that as an excuse for your behavior?
Right.
Because having the conversation in the moment about what's going on, it's a lot harder to make excuses and lie about it versus having 6 months to really think about what was
Right.
going on and how you can bend this.
Doctor it up.
Right. I'm not saying that he's a liar. I'm saying that
Right.
I don't trust people and I overthink everything. We should talk about the Superman thing before we wrap up.
Okay.
The whole kid aspect of it.
Oh my God. I convinced myself that I would be a better parent as Superman than Superman is.
Yeah, we'll get into
Yep.
that after the email.
Okay.
As you were starting to get
Yeah.
comfortable over
Oh,
there.
it was a whole thing last night.
Yeah.
I would not shut up about his parenting.
We can't just watch TV anymore. It's so fucking. Our toxic trait is we have to pause every 5 minutes and break down every fucking scene and how much bullshit that is and how we
Should've
would do
told
it
them they were
better and how
fine.
much better we are and fuck these guys and
If I had laser vision,
Yeah.
I would have done this differently.
could you imagine being able to get paid to play make pretend all day long?
I could.
Like that's just your career.
For a very long time, I wanted to be an actor. I can 100% picture that and imagine that. And
In scenes where they're doing green screen work, you're having
imagination.
imaginary friends.
Imagination. Carrie knows what's up. She did the rainbow hands, guys. All right, continuing on.
Yes.
He has since been very open with what he has gone through and currently going through. In 2017, we welcomed our daughter into the world, and I sort of fell into me being a stay-at-home mom role. So it wasn't chosen
Yep.
or
Sort of
decided.
fell into. There was definitely not a conversation.
Not a this is what I want. Okay.
Yep. You don't fall into that.
Yeah.
You talk about it so that everybody's on the same page because it doesn't take much for two people to have two very different perspectives of a situation.
Continuing on, I was dealing with postpartum and all of the pregnancy hormones and still feeling isolated. Near the ending of my pregnancy, I started looking elsewhere online for that attention. After these recent events, okay, now I'm massively confused. What recent events he disclosed to you? Him finding out that you cheated on him? That's when he disclosed all the things that were happening because there was an actual conversation of what's happening in your guys' lives?
Maybe these recent things were the video games and the pulling away. Or no, there was a year jump there, wasn't there?
I don't know where we're at right now.
Okay.
Because it started off talking about high school and then college and how he would talk about their arguments with other women
Right.
and then the gaming thing. He has, after these recent events, disclosed to me the issues he's faced at work, being a critical care nurse and all the other kinds of things and using gaming as a coping mechanism.
Okay.
But we're jumping back to 2017 now. Okay, I'm just going to continue reading.
Okay.
Near the ending of my pregnancy, I started looking elsewhere online for attention. None of these people lasted long because I started disconnecting from them.
Not because you were fucking cheating on your man, but because you were disconnecting from them while you were pregnant with his kid. Assuming that it is his kid.
Yeah. Soon after our daughter was born, we got married. On and off, my husband would try in our relationship and then slip back into basically ignoring me and only seeking my attention when he was in the mood. Or he slipped back into depression, and every time he felt like I have enough energy to love her, I'm going to make it a point to do it today, he did.
It's a good way to look at it. It is perspective. Your perception is your reality, and the way that you
Right.
choose to look at the situation is exactly the way it'll be. Yep.
It's been a really, really long week, and I know that she doesn't feel loved. I'm going to come home Friday night, and I'm just going to give her everything that I have. Maybe all week he was looking forward to surprising you that night.
Yeah.
Got a little extra nap in on his break instead of eating lunch just to make sure that he could stay awake long enough. whatever the case may be.
Could also speak to, the mental health of the job.
Yeah.
Knowing that this job has affected his mental health the way that this job has affected his mental health, he needs to find a different line of work.
Yeah, I was about to say, maybe this isn't the career path for you. I understand wanting to help people and be a part of the greater good of things and know that what you're doing is having real impact.
Yeah.
Right? I've done the behind the desk work. I don't feel like I'm doing anything by typing up documents on a computer for 8 hours a day.
People who deal with death and things of that nature, you need to learn to compartmentalize. You also need to understand all of that is just a part of life.
Yeah.
Nobody gets out alive. Like, we are all going to die one day.
Yeah.
And some people are going to die really horrible things. Like, that's just the way that life is. It's going to happen. There are some people who are a whole lot easier it's a whole lot easier for them to deal with that than others. Yeah. It wouldn't faze me at all. Now, dealing with little kids, that would be a different situation. So
that's the only reason I didn't become a mortician.
Yeah. Right. Like, we all have our limit.
Yeah.
And if his limit is this job is really fucking hard for his mental health, he needs to find another way.
Yeah.
I think the bigger picture here is that there's been a whole lot of bullshit that's happened between the two of them over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
They've accepted that this is just the way their life is, and neither one of them are trying.
I agree.
She's putting in effort with other people.
But not him.
And he's not putting in it at all.
She's taken a lot of things very personally, too.
Right.
Yeah. Continuing on.
Yep.
Then COVID hit, and he totally shut me out worse than he did before. I started seeking attention elsewhere.
Again.
Then COVID hit, and he totally shut me out worse. He totally shut me out worse than he did before. I remember when COVID hit America. Elderly were dropping like flies.
Yep.
People who already have compromised immune systems, disabilities, those kinds of things, are at a much greater risk. Our hospitals were overflowing.
Depends on where you lived.
Our small town hospitals weren't doing bad. But like New York City,
Yep.
San Francisco, those big hubs, definitely were not doing well. And if he is working at a hospital that saw an influx of patients during COVID, I can understand why he withdrew.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine telling family members, no, you can't go see your dying grandmother. And then having to walk out there a day or two later and let them know that, yep, she passed. And now I have to deal with the beratings and the screamings and all of the other emotions that people are feeling because everything is out of our control right now. Probably having to deal with kids. Why can't I go see my mommy?
I don't know where the rest of this email is going, but I can tell you right now with the way that it's been written so far, if I was this dude and I heard this email, I would leave this chick.
Yeah.
Just because I know that every time the relationship gets a little bit off, her go-to is going to get attention from other people online.
Yeah.
I don't want to live like that. I'm sorry. You obviously need something I can't provide. I'm not the one for you.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great life.
You need more than I can give.
Yeah. And that's not a pity me
That's
thing.
okay.
This is me telling you flat out, like,
go live the life that'll make you happy.
right. And there's a difference between somebody going, oh, I'm just a piece of shit, you could do better, because that's manipulation.
And then acknowledging, I see the patterns in your behavior.
Right.
Clearly, I am not what you're looking for.
That's it. I wish you the best. I'm out.
Find it. Continuing on. Not all of the attention seeking was romantic partners, and it was always online.
That doesn't fucking change anything. Well, it was only online, so it doesn't count. If he was talking to other girls on video games, would that be a problem for you? Well, I mean, it's only on the video game.
There have been long time frames when I wasn't talking to anyone except my husband. I'm not trying to be a bitch. Just hear that sentence. Just hear that sentence. There have been long time frames where I wasn't talking to anyone except my husband. This is the brokenness in women that I try to comment on.
Oh, but girl, you deserve better. He's not giving you what you need. Go get your bag.
I thought you wanted a provider. I thought you wanted a man who is goal-oriented and has dreams and ambition and all these other kinds of things. The good comes with the bad. It's a balance of the scales.
You and I both took talking to as in having inappropriate conversations with somebody other than her husband.
Yes.
Zach took it as literal, meaning that she needs to have a community and conversations with other people. And because I know he took it that way, and he's in the chat saying those things, it's important that we address that.
Okay.
I took that not talking to anyone other than my husband in a way that means she's not flirting, not being sexual,
Not seeking attention.
not emotionally cheating, not divulging, none of
Right.
that. There's a difference between having a friend and talking to somebody.
Yeah, there's a difference between community and cheating.
Yep. Just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
you and I are on the same page.
Yep, I agree with that. I guess the longest time frame that I was talking to another man outside of my marriage was March to October. Ooh, damn, girl, you're almost a whole pregnancy. I do want to take a second and acknowledge that it's not easy to admit that you've done shitty things.
Not at all. Kudos to you for even being the fucking...
Right.
Yep.
Like knowing that your man emailed us in and you wanted to follow up shows me, I'm not going to speak for my husband, this shows me that there is something here that you want to fix. Because you're airing a lot of your dirty laundry right now. And I'm not reacting most pleasantly to it.
Yeah. There's definitely an air of that shit happened.
Yeah.
For sure. And I do respect that.
Yeah.
The issue that I have is, and unless there's changed behavior and
Or
like,
acknowledgement that this is not okay.
right.
Yeah.
Then it's not going to change anything for me.
Yeah.
But knowing that that's her normal
Go-to.
mode of operation, like I don't want to deal with that.
I want to just take a second, and this is just me speaking out loud about myself. I'm really proud of myself on my own journey with my self-control and moderation and things. When I stopped drinking, when I was a massive alcoholic, when I stopped drinking, I really leaned into smoking cannabis. And that became my replacement for my alcoholism. And we're going on... I don't even know how many days it's been at this point. And last night, I had 2 glasses of wine. That's the most wine I've drank in a single night in a while. And I was not drunk. But I definitely was, there was a little bit of a buzz going on and I felt good. And once I felt that, I was like, okay, I don't need any more. I'm done drinking. And that was enough for me. I am somebody who usually consumes in large quantities. Everything. Food, shopping, drinking. Things that can be unhealthy when taken to extremes. And last night was one of those moments where I recognized that I have gotten to a point where I am able to enjoy extracurriculars and still maintain control of myself. I don't feel weak anymore, and that's nice.
Danish asked if you're going to get back into true crimes.
I was laying in bed last night at 1 o'clock in the morning thinking about you and Lorna. And I was like, gosh, when was the last time I paid them? And when was the last time I asked them to do a true crime thing? And it dawned on me that it's been a couple of months.
Yeah.
Well before Thailand. Mm-hmm. Our life is so hectic and guys, I'm not kidding. I really feel like I'm living one long day with a lot of naps in between it.
I love it.
My bedtime is nap time. And it just keeps going.
It's not boring though.
No, it is not boring. Not at all. Our life is fantastic and wonderful and stressful and emotional, and I would not give it up for anything.
Exciting.
I feel like exciting doesn't encompass it. It's adventurous and... Oh, God, so much. But yes, the answer is yes. I do want to get back into true crime. It's probably going to be after the first of the month, though, with To Be Focused coming into fruition. And we now have to integrate that into our schedules. We're going to be doing... This is a whole nother gig that we're starting. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
I'd be down to sit in the whiskey room with you and have a drink while you drink and do your true crime stuff. I know that I'm not Lauren the mortician.
Yeah.
But I am definitely a lot better to look at. I mean, no offense, but I'm your husband, so I would imagine that you like looking at me more than her.
Like,
That was not a disrespectful statement.
You're my favorite thing to look at.
I can just not put a camera on me and sit in my underwear and drink whiskey. I know. Oh, I'll get done.
I want to request that. Do like an endurance test.
See how long you can go?
See how long I can go for.
Yeah.
On this next episode of True Crime, we're talking about peaches. Continuing on. My husband has found out about everything in October due to another situation that has nothing to do with me talking to anyone. My husband had found out about everything in October due to another situation that had nothing to do with me talking to anyone. Okay, that sentence didn't hit me right the first time I read it.
It still doesn't hit right. He found out about all of her previous bullshit this October because of something that has nothing to do with her doing foul shit.
Right.
Something had to have happened for him to have found out about it.
Right. So maybe other foul things were happening and they just compounded. Continuing on. He stumbled across me being on a 3-way call with a friend and her boyfriend. And my friend put her phone down to do something, and he heard the man talking and then wanted to see my phone because he thought I was only talking to the man. After that, he had found out about everything in the past. At this point in time, I had already cut ties with the guy that I was talking to. Current events. My husband had emailed y'all, and since then, we have done your check-ins for 2 weeks now, and I have been religiously watching y'all's podcasts. We have been trying to work through everything, and I'm actively standing by him with what he is going through emotionally and validating that his emotions are valid. We have talked about what is to come in the future. I start therapy on December 4th to work through childhood trauma and all my self-love issues and to work on myself.
Okay, so that shows that there are steps being taken to remedy the foul shit that happened in the past.
Right.
Love the ownership.
I love it too, yeah.
Okay.
This is exactly the change. This is the action that we talk about, guys. When you want to prove that there is remorse for your behavior. Her going to therapy and acknowledging all of these things and telling her man about all of it. If that's how it came to, right? Like, say he heard the phone call and he was like, I'm insecure about this. What's going on? And she was like, oh, fuck. It's now or never. And she just laid it all out on the table.
Yeah. I agree.
Could have lied by omission for the rest of your life.
Yep.
That is action.
And then the follow-up stuff too.
Right. Yep. I used to be this woman. Seeking out attention elsewhere when I felt like I wasn't getting it from the relationship instead of just communicating to my person because I felt like my person would just berate me about it.
Yeah. A lot of people feel like when they get to that point, like, what's the point?
Right.
Right? The relationship's already fucked up.
Oh, I was far gone, checked out. Like, we had stopped having sex for months by that point. 100% in a sexless relationship. Nobody was happy. Everybody's miserable. We're staying together because this is what we've been doing.
Necessity.
Yeah. Not even necessity. It's going to take energy to change our lives, and we're just lazy and complacent right now. Continuing on. He is also going to be going to therapy, and we will also be doing marriage therapy.
That's how that should look.
Yes.
I know that a lot of people can't afford to do all three, her, him, and together. But if you can, that's the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Once we are in a good place, I will be proposing to him again. And even if he says no, I will still be staying at his side. Why are we proposing? What's proposing then?
Maybe they're trying to renew their vows or change start anew, like a fresh slate.
Oh, yeah. That threw me off for a second. I thought we were in a different email. I was like, if you want to be married and this man tells you no, why would you want to stay with someone who doesn't want to be your husband?
Right.
Totally forgot that this was a 20-year. Okay. Continuing on. I am extremely grateful that he has chosen to be willing for us to try and work through this. Since watching y'all's podcast, I have put some of your advice into my marriage, and I am trying to fall into the traditional marriage in some aspects. I am no longer a stay-at-home mom, but I'm only working when our daughter is at school. I have also been making sure that I am off every Sunday and at least one day during the school week when he is also off so that we can have that family time and also have time when him and I can have that alone time.
Love that.
We have also been having date night at least once a week. We are both feeling a lot of anxiety when we are not together. But when we are together, we have been having way more happy times than we have had since high school.
Because you guys fixed your relationship.
You finally talked about it.
Right.
You finally found out what was wrong with him. You recognized it wasn't you. Read the 4 agreements. Please, 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 please read the 4 agreements. Continuing on.
Yep.
The butterflies are even back, and I feel so seen by him, and I believe that he is feeling seen by me now also. Basically, I am emailing to tell you everything in my own words and to thank you both for responding to my husband's email and giving us the tools to start putting in the work for trying to get us past this. This is not what I expected it to be.
Nope. I expected this to end very differently.
I am proud of this woman.
Excuse me. I love the ownership.
Yeah. This is the actions that in my mind differentiates a female from a woman.
Yeah.
Just because you have a vagina and the reproductive ovaries and all those kinds of things does not make you a woman. Just like having a child does not make you a mother. It's a title that you earn through your actions.
Mm-hmm. It also speaks on the stupid shit that we do when we're younger.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna make a whole lot of mistakes in your 20s.
Right.
And that doesn't excuse it. It doesn't say that it's just gonna automatically be forgiven. You should try not to, but you should also have a little bit of grace with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like, especially if you had a traumatic childhood.
Right.
That first decade of your life away from your abusers and away from your household where you're trying to figure out life, you're an infant in the world. Like,
Now you're right. You're a baby all over again.
right.
You have opposable thumbs and you can talk this time.
Yeah. You gotta figure your shit out.
Yeah. This one is titled Having a Hard Time Patreon Member. Good afternoon. I just want to start off by saying I love y'all's content. I found you on TikTok and then took me to YouTube and now a Patreon member.
Hang on. I need to say something. I need to correct something that I said earlier.
Okay.
Earlier, I was like, based off of everything that she's laid out, because of the way that she is, I would have left this, like,
Yeah.
showing that she's going to bounce every time that she needs attention.
Yeah.
Knowing that she actively made change, it's proof that people can change.
Correct.
And it's showing that they found the communication necessary to do it, and they're working through the infidelity. That shit can happen. It's obviously a thing.
It's a choice.
I just want to point out that they made this work.
Yeah.
So me in that moment being like, I wouldn't fucking live like that. There would be no trust because it's been an ongoing repetitive thing that was in college. So it could have been 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. We don't know because it wasn't stated. But there was proof there that like change happens.
Yeah.
Okay. I just needed to make sure that that was specified because earlier in the episode, I was like, I'd fucking leave.
No. Well, I agreed with that statement and I agree with your revised statement as well.
Accountability.
Context certainly matters for things.
That's why when we tell you guys that we get a pinprick of your life, we are literally looking at your entire existence through the pinhole of a fence
That you typed up.
that you typed up. Right. So that pinhole could be a pinprick or a 16 penny nail or a fucking,
Cannonball.
yeah, we don't know. It depends on what you give us. So, yeah.
Continuing on.
All right. Yeah. Start it over though, please. Because I don't remember what we were talking about.
Good afternoon. I just want to start off by saying I love y'all's content. I found you on TikTok, and then that took me to YouTube, and now I'm a Patreon member. I'm still working my way through all the YouTube videos when I'm able to. Sorry it's so long. I tried to provide as much detail within what y'all are okay with hearing. So I am needing advice/help, and please bear with me, as this will be long, and I have ADHD, so I may be all over the place. I'm apologizing ahead of time if that happens. I am going to try my best to keep it all in order for y'all. I am 34 years old and have 4 boys and 2 bonus daughters.
6 kids, 3 away from a baseball team.
Yep. I had my youngest when I was 17, so I had to grow up fast. I am now in my second marriage. My first one ended due to cheating, lying, and any abuse that you can imagine. We were also young, and I realized we didn't get married for the right reasons at that time. I ended up going through several bad relationships after that, never knowing what true love was. I had a bad time, anxiety, PTSD, depression, and I was a single mom and had to give custody of my kids to my grandparents so that I could heal, or 2 grandparents, so I could heal and make sure that I was able to provide the best life for my kids. I worked on myself and thought I was good, got my kids back, we moved into an apartment, and I met my now husband. I fell hard, he was amazing, listened to my goals and dreams, and we loved the same things. Our communication was great. We finished each other's sentences and had the same thoughts. We dated for 2 years, and he was living with me, helping with everything. I was taught as a young girl, you cater to your man and don't question things, so I did. He never had to ask for anything. I always had everything taken care of. The traditional wife, but as a girlfriend. We both worked, me from home, and he had a 9 to 5. After another year, we were able to move into a fancy house we loved and got married. He got sick and was in and out of the hospital for a good year, and that sent me spiraling downhill. It was like everything I had worked so hard on myself just caved in. I started going deep into depression. I didn't want to do anything, not even have sex. I was exhausted and tired all the time. Between being at the hospital and dealing with the kids, I was forgetting things. Bills fell behind. I didn't enjoy work anymore, so I didn't put in the effort, and the house was not filthy, but it was not clean either. Due to everything getting behind, we couldn't catch up. He was out of work a lot due to his health, and I wasn't working as much, even though I worked from home.
Okay, I'm gonna pause.
Okay.
My thought process on this is probably not going to be a popular one, but I understand that once you get behind, catching up is really fucking hard to do. He can't go to work because he's not healthy. She was doing at-home work stuff, which means you know how to find a job that works from home.
Right.
There's a whole lot of things that you can do depending on your health that's job related. If you can lay in a bed with a laptop on you, you can type.
There are people in Japan who are totally disabled from the neck down, and they're still able to do working through robots in restaurants.
Right. There are ways to make it work if you really want to make it work with your finances. Mm-hmm. I am really, really against this whole I'm doing all I can while working a 30-hour work week.
Yeah.
You're not.
You're not.
You could take on multiple online jobs and fucking spend your entire day working if that's what it takes to dig your ass out of a hole. Yep. And if you're capable of working and you're only working one job and you're struggling to make ends meet, get another fucking job.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Continuing on.
Yes.
We lost the house we were in and had to move into the house he had bought after his first divorce. And at that time, his parents lived there, so we had a mattress in the living room area and the kids had the bedroom, as it was just a 2-bedroom house. Things didn't get any better, and I knew they wouldn't.
What kind of illness does he have? Has he got fucking prostate cancer and have been given 6 months?
I don't know.
That matters. Because there's a reality that needs to be held there, you know.
Right. Just that mindset's so negative.
Oh, I agree.
Like, even if you were terminally ill and I knew that you had a time frame, I'm not going to sit here and be pessimistic and really shitty about what my life is going to look like after you pass away. You don't want to hear that.
That's true. There's a whole lot of things that can be said about that situation, but
yeah. I also don't want to be in that mind frame, in that mindset. I don't want to confine myself to this one way of thinking and go, well, this is it. Tomorrow it's going to get shittier.
Yeah.
I don't want to live my life like that. I can understand wanting to be prepared for situations and mentally armor up.
Well, if somebody's given 6 months to live and you have 6 months to spend with them, do you want that 6 months to really mean something and be joyful? And like, do you want to have really good memories during that 6 months? Or do you want to just remember the last 6 months of their life as a really stressful, anxiety-ridden, shitty fucking time?
You amping up for the moment where they pass away, and now what?
Right.
We had too many people in one house and so much going on financially. I was trying to get us back on track, but felt overwhelmed with everything, and he started getting more angry. I ended up quitting my at-home job on the spot with no notice and no backup plan. Why?
Why would you do that?
It took months to find a new job, which was awful.
Well, that was dumb, and you shouldn't have done that. Hindsight 2020. Don't do that again.
100% idiotic.
Yeah.
I know people who do something like that, who do things like that, who quit a job on a whim because they're emotional or they don't like what's happening or X, Y, and Z with no backup plan. And here they are 2-3 years later still playing catch up.
That's because they've always had somebody to fall back on. That's rock bottom.
Yeah.
When you have nobody to depend on, you don't know where your next meal is coming from, you don't have a roof over your head, power's getting shut off, whatever the case may be, and there's literally no one there to pick you up, and it is solely dependent on you, all that shit stops. Mm-hmm. That's the putting away childish things.
Right.
You're a fucking adult now. Time to do adult shit. Yeah, working sucks. Nobody wants to do that. If we could all not have a job, 90% of the population wouldn't lift a finger.
Work. Right.
Right?
Yep.
But we need that. If you want to enjoy your life and you want to not be stressed out and you want to make sure that you got a nice place to stay and your kids have food and a clean residence and you've got transportation and all that shit, you fucking suck it up.
Right. It took months to find a new job, which was awful. We weren't catching up, just falling behind again, and he had to file bankruptcy because everything was in his name. Because the reason was not provided as to why she just up and quit her job with no plan in place whatsoever, there would be a little bit of resentment there if I were her husband. Bankruptcy fucks you up for a while. I'm talking years. His credit screwed for a while.
Well, the bankruptcy will show, depending on the way you file bankruptcy. Which chapter. You can normally start getting credit cards and shit again within 2 years. The bankruptcy will still show. It'll still show that you filed bankruptcy. But all the sharks that are there to try to get you to build your credit will start offering you shit because you have a clean slate.
You're also going to get high ARP rates and whatnot.
You get that now anyways, no matter what.
Yeah.
APRs are fucking stupid right now. Okay. What you doing, Lilo dog? You gonna come up here? Nope. Well, fuck you too then.
Continuing on.
Well, shit.
When he did that, they took his Mustang because we couldn't afford it, so we were down to one vehicle. Things got worse and worse. We started to argue more, and I mean screaming matches at this point.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Finances is the number one reason for divorce.
Yes, it is.
It causes every other aspect that creates the divorce. So studies show that infidelity is the second highest, but most infidelity starts because of the problems in the relationship, and that's not always, but it's in high rates led from financial.
You guys didn't have to lose everything. You could have gotten a job before you quit.
Yeah.
If you knew that you were so miserable at your job and you couldn't take it anymore and you needed something new, you should have been looking for a job this whole time.
6 kids.
6 kids. I was just thinking, I don't understand. I don't understand it. So they were living in his grandparents' house, his parents' house, somebody's home, his extended family, and they're feeding your whole family for the months that nobody was working.
Well, they got 6 kids, 2 adults, and the parents living in a 2-bedroom house.
That's 10 people.
Fuck that.
We started to argue more, and I mean screaming matches at this point. Mostly involved something to do with my children since they lived with us full time. I'm very protective over my children due to their past traumas, so I would intervene in everything he said or did with them that would cause a divide between him and the kids and him and me. It just made us pull apart more.
So you married a man that you trusted to lead your household but not discipline your kids?
Right. Undermined him. Your kids are going to get upset at him.
They're going to get upset at you.
Right. Children don't like being told no.
Yeah.
And if he tells the kids no for whatever reason, they start throwing a fit, and he is going to implement a form of discipline that's not abuse, and you are stepping in and undermining that, you're parenting from guilt and trauma.
Right. Just because,
and you're going to fuck your kids up.
Right. Just because you don't want somebody else to parent your child.
Yeah. Divorce was brought up several times when it was said one of us would leave for hours. One night, he even stayed at a hotel. I started to shut down even more, talking on my phone, constantly playing games, or I would just sit on the bed. It was wrong of me to shut everyone out and not care. I stopped the traditional wife thing. I couldn't take it anymore. I felt no one appreciated it anymore, and I know I caused that. Since the intimacy was not there and I was feeling off, I decided to go to the doctor for a test and found out I had a softball-sized cyst in my uterus, and my endometriosis was worse, along with severe anemia that required transfusions. I ended up getting a full hysterectomy, and after I was diagnosed premenopausal, so I took birth control to help with the hormones, etc. All of that didn't help with intimacy.
So you both have medical problems.
Right.
You live in a 2-bedroom house with 6 kids and his parents, and you're living on a mattress in the living room. Of course your intimacy's fucked up.
Yeah.
You said you were disconnected. You think that just going and getting a hysterectomy and getting your hormones fixed are going to fix the disconnect? That's not how that works. It can make you feel better, but that repair still has to happen.
You up and quit your job out of the blue.
Right.
Like, that's a massive life decision. And if there was no consultation there and you just up and did it, and then you were like, oh, hey, babe, by the way, I quit my job today.
No notice.
Right. Like that is a massive ripple in the marriage. Massive. I would feel so betrayed. We have discussions about everything. We talk about everything in our marriage.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I have, wait, go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. How do you think that would look if I got sick and couldn't do this anymore? And I let's say that like I got sick and couldn't go more than, say I got fucking hooked on pain pills because of it. And like, I just couldn't work. This is not hard to do. I can sit in front of it and even talk even on meds, but let's say that I couldn't do this and you had to step in and be the breadwinner after I've been the one that's handled the finances, the one who set everything up in our lives and handled all of the business structures. If you had to step from being what you are right now, or even being a stay-at-home wife, to having to take care of me and running our life, would you resent me for that?
No. My time to shine, baby.
Well, I mean, so what's the difference? Because she went from being a traditional stay-at-home mom, as she put it, to having a sick husband, to quitting her fucking job, and now their life is in total disarray.
The Lord created me to be of service. And one of the greatest honors I have in my life is to be of service to my husband.
This is the hearing this email is the issue that men have with the I'm a paycheck. This is why men retire and then die afterwards. Or when they get injured at work and they can't make it anymore, they end up passing away. Like, we have to have a reason to get up every morning. And when we no longer have that reason to get up, it changes who we are fundamentally. So knowing that if I got injured to the point where I couldn't do this or I couldn't live our lives and you had to support me and take care of me, that would really fuck me up mentally. Like, the idea of you even helping me put my socks on when my back is at its worst.
You asked me to help you once.
Yeah, and I've suffered the rest of the time because it made me feel like a fucking child. I don't want to do that. I would rather go through that little bit of pain and do it myself than to can you put my shoes on for me? I understand that there are people out there who actually can't put their fucking shoes on.
Right.
I can put my shoes on. It just hurts. I'm not going to be a pussy. I'm going to put my fucking shoes on. But if this was us and we were in this situation and you started to resent me and our life fell apart and our money got fucked up because you didn't want to pick up where I stopped carrying and finish the goal or get to the finish line, like that would be really fucking hard. That would be very shitty. Like, I got to be honest. No, I don't know. I'm not going to say that on the podcast, but
it would fuck up our marriage a little bit.
There would be life.
We'd be having a lot of discussions.
Destroying implications there for me. Because if I'm going to be a burden or a dependent, I'm just going to remove myself from the mathematical equation. That's another layer to think about on what he's going through if this is a thing.
You know, there would also be conversation of swapping roles. If I'm going to be picking up slack everywhere else, I'm not going to be doing the dishes. That's going to be the last thing on my mind. I know you hate doing the dishes, babe, but I need help here because...
But what if I can't?
You can't do the dishes?
What if I physically can't stand there or sit there long enough to do it?
Paper plates.
There you go. That was a really quick fucking decision. That super quick. That's how easy that is.
Yeah. Or I'm working my ass off even more to hire somebody to do all that shit for me.
Yeah. All this comes down to perspective, I guess.
Actually, it got to be so much worse, not caring for sex or any touch, period. I hate confrontation, so I'd walk away from arguments or sit in silence while he said what he has to.
So you guys don't talk.
Right. About a year ago, we started talking about moving, and it became a thing of my family versus his on who to be closer to. My grandmother passed away in December, and that hit me hard. She was my light in the darkness. She has been there through thick and thin. She even helped me detox when I was young, so me and her were close. I lost a piece of my heart and still feel guilty for not being there in person to help her through her cancer and everything.
How are you going to feel if your husband passes away from whatever's going on with his medical condition? Knowing that you guys have gone down the rabbit hole further and further and disconnected.
And you were actually there for him.
Right. Yep. Perspective. Somebody in the chat said, yeah, 6 kids, 1 or 2 will be old enough to do the dishes.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Kids should be doing chores anyways. Don't even fucking get me started on that.
Kids are sweeping and mopping their rooms at this point.
Cleaning.
Yep.
Organizing.
They know how to load and unload a dishwasher. Yeah. They know how to use the air fryer and the microwave.
It's because we're raising young adults, not 40-year-old neckbeards.
Yeah. My next thing for them to learn to use is the fryer for their chicken nuggets.
That's one of those things that always needs to be monitored.
Oh, yeah. Supervision always happens. Anytime there is a hot surface being used or something that would result in a hospital visit, I'm supervising. But they get super excited to, Mommy, I just want you to watch me do it. I want you to just watch me do it.
Yeah. That's because they're showing you that they're capable.
Right.
Look how independent I'm becoming, Mom. Yeah.
After this, we decided to move closer to my family because all of this and my grandfather will be all alone now. Well, we talked about this will be a new start, etc. Here we are in our new home and back in the state we both love. Nothing has changed. It's only gotten worse. He told me I have only gotten worse and he hates this new me. I told him I'm learning to love myself again as I never knew how to do that and I can't properly love him or the kids without loving me, so I need to work on that in turn. I was called a selfish bitch.
That's definitely a shitty thing to say, and I don't think that should have been said.
I agree.
But I also think that you can learn to love yourself while still taking care of your children and your man.
I agree with that. Finding new springs to fill myself with only gives more water to pour into you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not building up a dam to hoard all of this to myself to make sure that I have enough. And then I'll give you some when I have it. I'm not going to resource guard here. I also am wondering how that was presented. Because I agree, we don't call names.
Right.
We don't talk to each other this way. You quit your job with no notice and no backup plan. Was that emotional based? I view that as pretty selfish. There was no consideration there for the fact that we have 6 children or that we're living in my parents' house, grandparents' house, whomever you're living with at this point. And you didn't talk to me about it. There could be a massive resentment there. And all of this should just be compounding on top of that.
Yeah. Well, they're obviously working again.
Yeah.
Because they've got their own place now, which is good because they have their own fucking place to live versus living with other people, but there's still 6 kids in the picture.
Right.
It's hard to have intimacy when you got children. It's obviously fucking doable, but
Yes,
it takes work, not just, when it's convenient. Because it's never going to be convenient. There's 8 people living in that house.
Right.
You got to make time for it.
Kids are at school. You don't have to leave for 30 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah, run it. Absolutely.
Nana said she's dropping him off in 45 minutes. I'm going to jump in the shower and meet you in 10. Good game, bud. Let's go.
But that's just on the sexual side of things.
Right.
On the non-sexual side of things, the resentment that's built up and the free-flowing communication, the lack of free-flowing communication is an issue because she doesn't talk to him.
Right.
So there's built up
She shuts
resentment in
down.
her where she's shutting down and nothing's changing. It's also important to not skim over the fact that she had a hysterectomy, which means there's going to be medication for the rest of her life.
Yeah, her estrogen is fucked up for good.
That's it. And depending on how she's going about getting her estrogen to get her balance, there's spikes. And when there's too much estrogen, there's too much
Overly
emotion.
emotional.
Right. So there's going to be that ebb and flow. And that's something that he's going to have to learn to deal with. It sounds to me like neither one of them are able to have a successful communication with each other. And neither one of them have gotten over past transgressions.
Yeah. Continuing on.
I just want to also touch on the fact that I would never let somebody talk to me like that.
Oh, gosh, no. No.
You can tell somebody that you don't like that they've become selfish without calling them a bitch.
Right.
There's no reason for that. I actually view that as a form of abuse.
I agree.
Okay.
I view that as a way to verbally beat somebody down into your submission. Continuing on, I have never in my life put myself first ever. So that hurt me because I am not selfish.
What happened the day that you quit your job with no notice and didn't tell anybody?
Right. Right.
You can't speak indefinite.
I'm selfish.
Everybody is to a degree.
I am selfish. I'm going to absorb all the time I can with my man. I'm going to go out of my way to spend all the time that I can with the children. If I need a 10-minute break from everybody, I'm going to walk outside for 10 minutes. I'm not going to sit here and put myself in an escalated emotional state and possibly fly off the handle or lose my temper or whatever can happen because, well, you want me here right now. No, I need 10 minutes. I'm going to walk outside for a second, let the wind play with my hair, and I'm going to come back in and be more calm.
She'll let me play with your hair. I'm much better at it. You having a little bit of sadness over there? Give me the back of your head. I got you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
While you're resetting your brain over there, that I've never been selfish. I've never put myself first, allows her to be the victim
Yeah.
in this entire story.
I agree with that.
And that's where that statement comes from.
Yeah.
Because you have put yourself first. Nobody has ever been completely selfless.
Right.
Well, there was one person, he got crucified for it, but that's a whole different discussion.
Have you left somewhere because you didn't want to be there anymore?
Right. Selfishness.
Have you left early because you didn't want to be there anymore? Have you ended conversations because you didn't enjoy the person you were talking to?
Have you quit your job because you didn't enjoy your job?
Yeah.
With no notice. Doesn't get much more selfish than that.
Yeah.
And even if the reason is my husband didn't want me to work there anymore, the selfishness there is that you want your husband to be happy and you want to be the one to make him happy. That is a form of selfishness. You want to be the one to provide and do the thing.
Continuing on, I will go without for someone to have what they need. Well, he holds a lot of resentment because he says I played with him, that I'm a good actress, and this is why none stayed with me because I'm fake. I gave him everything and took it all away. Things are said to me that shouldn't be said to the one that you love, calling me a bitch, telling me to go back to the fuck boys I was with, telling me I have no idea what it takes to be a woman, wife, or a mother.
This is all abuse and manipulation.
100%. 100%. I don't care what this woman has done in this relationship. There is absolutely no reason for those things to be said besides to make him feel better because he's angry right now.
Right. Well, or to make her feel bad enough to stop the conversation because he knows that she shuts down and just takes it.
Yeah. Instead of standing up for herself.
Right.
She's going to be the doormat to walk on instead of being the person who stands the ground.
Yep. So in this situation, he's getting elevated. He knows that he can say these things and she's going to shut down and the conversation is going to stop. He wins. I could never imagine telling you to go back to being with somebody that wasn't me. Even if I look down on all those dudes, go.
So what if I did?
That's it. I'm planting that seed. Go be with those other fucking losers. I'm superior. I'm the superior man. You'll never find a man as good as me. That's all. That is actual psychological abuse.
100%.
Documented psychological abuse. There's actually books written on it. But in the event that I did that and it planted a seed in your head that you actually started fucking around with somebody, I have nobody to blame for that but me.
Oh, excuse me.
I don't want you to think about sleeping with other people or going anywhere. I want to have a conversation about what the fuck is going on so that we can fix it so that we can be happy again because happy us is fucking gangster.
Right.
I don't like this last 30 minutes. I don't want this to ruin our entire fucking day. What do you need from me, babe? Want me to hug you? Want me to apologize? You need me to grab you by the back of your head?
Yes.
Just to continue the joke, but seriously, like, what do you need from me? I'll do whatever the fuck you need me to do right now to make this better because this doesn't feel good.
Okay. I agree with all of that.
And that selfishness,
Yes.
narcissism. I'm doing it because I don't like that you're upset. It doesn't make me feel good. And I'm willing to put myself out to make sure that you feel good because if you feel good, I feel good. That's
Makes my life easy.
selfishness.
Yep. I had something to say. You said something and it was really good, but I don't remember what it was. So I'm just going to say the thing that stuck in my mind. It's not a joke for me anymore. If I'm sad or upset or something, can you just grab my hair?
I mean, I do that anyways. I don't really need a reason.
I wanted more. I remember what I was going to say.
Yeah.
This man is one day going to say, go back to your fuckboys. And she's going to say, okay, pack all of her shit. And he's going to be like, what the fuck? You're leaving me?
Right.
He's going to be the boy on the bike, taking the stick, shoving it into his own wheel. Why did they do this to me?
That's it. It's everybody else's fault.
Oh man, I'm not going to lie. I have been through that verbal berating, the same things. I've been told I'm going to ruin my children, that I'm a piece of shit mother, all of these kinds of things. Little tiny part of me gets a little, like I jump up in the air and I clack my feet together when their downfall happens, just a little bit. Because I know you are so confident in your steps that one day you're going to misstep.
That ego's a bitch.
And that tumble down that rocky mountain that you're climbing right now is going to fucking hurt. And guess what I'm going to be doing? Hoo boy, look at that shit. Pass me binoculars, babe.
World star. That's funny.
Do a flip.
The people karma will always come back to you. It may not be in this life, it may be in the next. But karma is coming and she will always get what she fucking deserves. And you can do a whole lot of things to try to balance out so that when it comes back around, it's not so bad.
Right.
But the people who live in that constant, I'm done.
Okay.
Because that almost got very personal.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Continuing on. Since I've been listening to your podcast, I've tried to do the things Peaches said she does and working on not using my depression and anxiety as an excuse for not doing something or to tackle the day.
Can we? Yeah, go ahead. I saw the hand go. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say, well, first, I love that you phrased that in a way that has nothing to do with your husband. You phrased that sounds like self-growth. I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm going to stop doing it. I would not be doing anything for this man. I'm not taking your boots off. You're getting your dinner in a plastic cup. And if that's not enough for you, you can drive somewhere and get Taco Bell. You're lucky you didn't get shit on a plate.
You will eat the cat poop.
I ate corn just for you, babe.
There's solids in with your liquids.
Full nutrients. Treat him like Anchorman. You're going to eat that shit.
You eat the cat poop. I will not eat the cat poop. You will eat the cat poop. Okay, if I have a bite, will you give me a steak?
I'll think about it. I'm not staying in this situation.
No.
I'm not. I am reaching out to everybody that I know. Everybody that I know. Can I rent a room for you? Mm-hmm. I'll rent 2 rooms because I have a soccer ball as a family. Soccer ball team. Baseball team?
Baseball.
Football. Hut. I am really big on that's not how I imagined my marriage when I was a little girl.
Right.
I'm really big on this is not how I thought my husband would treat me when I was dreaming about my marriage. I know, I don't care. You could be, can I say butch? Is that offensive? No. All
Carrie
right.
said no.
The lesbian in the room said it's okay. You could be the most butch lesbian out there. I know damn well that at some point when you were a single-digit little girl, you were dreaming about getting married. Yes. She said yes. Case closed. We are not going to settle for misery in our lives because we are getting placated with validation and attention every once in a while. We're moving on up.
To the east side. To a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Hey.
I was going to chime in when you did, and I let you run with it. And the only thing that I'm going to say on top of what you did, because you covered a lot of what I wanted to say, stop using our podcast to justify shitty behavior from people who are abusing you to try to make the situation right. If you're being abused, that behavior is there.
Yeah.
It's going to escalate.
Yes.
The shitty name calling will eventually become
throwing
standing
things.
over you. To scare you, to intimidate you. And when that stops working, then there's going to be a shove and then a punch or a slap.
And you're not fucking leaving.
Right. Because you've been conditioned to stay through all of this shit. Our podcast is not here to make your relationship better if you're being abused. It's not to make you safe from your abuser. If you're being abused, fucking leave. We don't talk to each other that way.
No, we don't.
I would not expect a woman to ever want to serve me if I was that type of man.
Right.
That's slavery. There's a fucking difference.
The only time I will ever be okay with you calling me a degrading name is to excite me.
And it does.
If there was ever a time where you said that shit in a disruption or out of frustration, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how I would react.
Yeah.
My instinct would be to walk out the front door, but I know that's an abandonment issue for you. Mm-hmm. You're going to see a whole new side of me.
You could walk out. You just got to phrase it.
Yeah.
We don't do that to each other. I'm really fucking mad right now. I'll be back in an hour.
All right. Are we continuing on?
Yes.
I am making a point to not use my depression and anxiety as an excuse for not doing something or tackling the day. That is hard in itself, and communication is my downfall, so working on that, but feel like nothing is helping at this point. He says that he stayed with me 5 years too long and that he's done.
Why are you there? That's it.
Heard.
That's your exit.
Okay.
With all of the abuse, you're right. 5 years is too fucking long. I'm gone.
You're free. I'm so extra. Wow. On my way out the door, like,
Clear
right,
eyes.
It's
Wow.
moving day. Huh?
It's moving day.
It's moving day. And everything's packed up and there's melancholy music playing somewhere in the distance.
On your little JBL speaker.
Right. Maybe like gloomy weather or like I just have something propped up so it looks shady outside. And then I turn around and I look at him one last time and I reach into my pocket.
And go like this.
And
Glitter.
with glitter. Toodaloo. And close the door.
I thought you were going to be like, and on my way out, be like, there's one last thing I forgot to leave.
No, I want to ruin his day.
Glitter would do it.
Yep.
Glitter would ruin my day.
Yes, I want to watch Kitchen Nightmare with you guys. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? Alrighty. Continuing on. I would take that as my leave. He stayed with me 5 years too long and that he's done. Mm-hmm. Heard, homie. With a good run. We can meet up for a 10-year reunion.
Learned a lot of lessons. You taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Not even resentful.
Yep.
Learned a lot from you.
Thank you for loving me when you did.
Yep.
All right. He believes that we should like all the same things and have the same exact interests. It doesn't make sense to me how you learn or figure new things out if you are both doing exactly the same thing as each other all the damn time. Am I wrong in that thought?
You should have similar interests. Not in everything.
Not in everything.
But you should be able to enjoy hobbies together. That's actually how you continue to grow together.
Right. We find one of us finds something new and we're like, hey, you want to check this out with me?
And then we get into it.
Yep.
And that's how you keep things fresh and growing.
And I'm also not scared to try things with you.
Yeah, tell them about the overlanding that you did the other day illegally in traffic.
Yeah. When you say it like that. Well, I was pulling up to a light and I had the children in the car. We were heading to school and we were bebopping to Amy Winehouse. And this woman in her SUV was a full car distance away from the car in front of her at the red light. And she was blocking it to 2 left turn lane. And she's blocking the entrance to get into that second lane. And the light's green. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. And I was like, I'm in the Bronco. I'm going to use this bad bitch for what she was built for. Took her right up on that median. Went right on over it. And I kept going. I made the light. And then I messaged my husband. I was like, suddenly I feel like I can take this thing vertical. Let's go.
She drove over a curb.
I did. But it went boop.
That curb is actually slanted down.
Yeah.
Which is why it felt like you were slanted the way that you were. That's funny. Yeah. She came home and told me that shit. And in my head, when you explained it, it sounded like you went over the median and into oncoming traffic to make a left-hand turn. And then I saw it and I was like, okay, so she didn't do that.
No.
And I was like, did you drive in the grass behind there? Because it's like concrete and then grass. And you're like, no, I was on the concrete. And I'm like, oh, you used that to get into the turn lane.
Yeah.
This is not as illegal. It's more frowned upon.
Yeah.
I'll do that shit in a car. I don't give a fuck.
Nice. Yeah. All right. So, not getting a felony.
It's frowned upon. It's pay to play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll pay that ticket.
Same. It was worth it.
I'm pissed off that cop too. No, I would try to make him laugh. I went down the whole scenario with my husband if I got pulled over. Try to make the cop laugh. I didn't know I couldn't do that. You see this thing that I'm driving? Tell me you wouldn't try that.
You know, with that Dave Chappelle. I'm sorry, officer. I didn't know I couldn't do that.
I would put on sunglasses just for that moment too, to add emphasis. I'm going to do everything I can to make a cop laugh. Every time I got out of a ticket, it's because a cop laughed. Not because I was a woman or I was looking sexy in the moment. Made the dude laugh. He walked away from that experience feeling good about himself instead of feeling like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yep. Not saying that'll work every time. Don't try to like punch someone in the face and then make the cop laugh about it. Like, back into the email. I think that he is very unrealistic in thinking that you want to date a clone of yourself just with a vagina? That's weird. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for someone who's going to challenge me. Someone who has a completely different world perspective that I can gain from it. I looked at you the other night and I said, babe, one of the things that I love about you the most is that you're a break from my life. Your mind, the things that you tell me, even when you're stressed out and tired, it gives, or going through it or having a really hard mental day, it gives me an opportunity to take a break from everything in my life and just be your woman.
The issue is that he doesn't want a woman or a
Right.
partner. He wants somebody that's going to do all the housework and will do
Right.
all the shit that he wants to do so that he can have a selfish, fun life to live the way that he wants to live it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I'm that break of your life, right? That's the whole point of doing this. If we're not going to enjoy our time together, then why marry?
Right.
Like, you should be marrying your best friend and the person that you want to do all that shit with. If you're like, man, I really want to go do this, but I don't want to do it with you.
What are we doing here?
Right.
Am I just a fuck buddy for you? Like,
No.
You like that I...
No,
oh, you're
that's-
right, because they're not.
Right.
Do you like that I'm a mother for your children?
Do you like that I do all the womanly stuff in the house so that you don't have to do it?
Do you like that you have a whipping post when you're frustrated?
Right.
Continuing on. At this time, we don't talk or text for... oh, golly gosh. At this time, we don't text or talk for real. He sleeps on the couch because he said till he gets the one he dated back, he isn't sleeping in our bed.
Jesus, and you haven't left yet.
He doesn't want to sleep with a stranger that he dislikes. There is barely any I love yous or kisses, no calling each other beautiful, handsome, etc. He said the same mistakes are happening, but I don't understand that besides me not being sexual. He handles the finances, and the kids I have backed off a little more when he is dealing with them. I take steps back when I notice an argument may be brewing and say I need some time, but that turns into being swept under the rug and not brought up again until he gets angry at something. He has stated that he is the man of the house and makes all the final decisions, even to the point of what job he wanted me to take when we had moved here.
That is... okay. So there will be a book coming out eventually, written by me, that will explain the whole thing about the manhood thing, and what you've got there is not a man. You have a dictator. He's not a leader. It's not the same thing. You lead by example. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. I could do this all day. There is a book called Why Does He Do This? Or Why Does He Do That? And it's written by Lundy. Had to reference books. Why Does He Do That? By Lundy Bancroft. I don't have anything else to this reader other than you should not be there. You're not safe, and you need to read that book.
Yeah.
It'll open your eyes to a whole lot of things that you're currently going through.
Yeah. It just hit me what I'm probably going to name my book.
What?
The Words of a Mother. The Advice from a Mother.
Mama said.
Read this book when you felt like your mom didn't love you.
She didn't do a good enough job. Here I am.
Something along those lines. If this were my daughter, I would be busting that fucking door down. You're not talking to her anymore, buddy. You're fucking talking to me. And guess who's standing with me? Ivy. My pew-pew. My husband. I'm gonna send her in first. She's gonna be the warning. Go get those fucking ankles. If this man was my son, I would also be busting that door down, but I'm dragging you out by your fucking ankles. I don't care if my son's 4, I'm gonna beat you in front of the whole world. I did not raise you to treat women this way. That's gonna be a showdown, a duel. Pick up your lightsaber because this isn't words anymore. Shing, shing.
You gonna spank your kid at 40 years
Oh,
old?
100%. Yes, I will. I'll bust out my favorite lemonade making spoon too.
You just gotta get him with that wooden spatula.
Open that door and go, chancla! The only reason our children's spouses will have my phone number is to let me know when they're acting up. And I don't want a phone call in the middle of the night of, your son's being mean to me and I can't sleep. No, I need to know if my son's laying his hands on you. If you no longer feel physically safe with my child, I need to know about that. If my daughter is running amok and berating you and calling you names and hitting you and you're not going to defend yourself because you're a man and you don't want to go to jail and all these other kinds of things, I'll go to jail. I'll square up against my own daughter. You are not going to treat another human being that way. That is not how I fucking raised you.
I don't think that'll ever have to be a thing.
I don't think it will either. But I'll go there.
I don't think it will either. Hey, I'm gonna need you to calm down a little bit. Your hypotheticals are working you up. How's your pulse?
Slow. Almost indetectable.
All right, Grinch.
I think that parents, especially mothers, are far too lenient with their children. They make excuses. I have expectations.
Yeah.
And it is not this. Any of this from either person in this relationship. But am I wrong in not agreeing completely with that, like what happened to what I want in life or what to do? What? But am I wrong in not agreeing completely with that, like what happened to what I want in life or want to do? Am I not seen or heard? You are not seen or heard. This man does not care about what you want.
Nope. Not from what you've written anyways.
Right. I have opinions and thoughts as well. And what if I disagree with the decision? Is there no discussion and compromise?
It depends. Did you give him the ability to make final decisions?
It's a good question.
Because if you did, then no, you don't. Because even though he should take your opinion and your thoughts and your interests to heart and weigh things accordingly, if you gave up that right to final decision making and say that matters of the home and the matters of our life, because you're the man I trust you to lead and to do those things, I'm going to give you final decision making. You gave that to them. Mm-hmm. Now, if you pull that away, that's going to create a whole lot of other problems because you went against your word. It's a thing. But I also believe that when women give that final decision-making power, that I don't think that's a card that should ever really truly be used. That's one of those things that we are at
like emergency situations.
Right.
Natural disasters are happening.
Right.
The only time we have never had discussions about what's going on is when natural disasters are happening and I'm too anxious to think about anything. I don't care. Just make sure that we're safe, please.
Oh, I lied in my book. I said that I never used that power. I did during Hurricane Ian.
Yeah.
At 11 o'clock at night, I made you get dressed so we could leave.
Yeah, I packed the kids up. We threw them in the monster truck and we left. Yep.
Damn. Now I have to decide whether or not I want to leave that in there or change that. Do you think that that's a valid statement?
Because I think it is. I think that's a really good example of when it should be utilized.
I'm going to have to go back and change that. I forgot all about that. Because it wasn't an argument.
No.
That was
you looked at me and you were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I'm not answering you. You need to tell me what we're doing right now. Yep.
I don't think that was a veto thing then, because you didn't make a decision. You just told me to figure out what I wanted to do and you were going. So I still think I've never actually played that card. There was never been a time where you were like, no, I don't want that. And I'm like, veto. So I think I can keep my books the same. I don't think I have to change that because I've never overridden your...
There was one time.
Your hard no.
There was one
Don't
time.
bring up the lavender plant.
No, it's not the lavender plant. This was a while ago. We were still doing our morning walks in Myakkahatchee. And we were having a conversation. And you're asking me for my opinion on something. And I gave you my answer. And you're like, I'm just going to do what I was going to do. And I was like, okay. I mean, you're the final decision maker. Inside of me, I was like, then why'd you fucking ask?
If you can't tell me what it was that was happening in the moment, it don't count.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. So you're right. You're right.
We'll have to talk about that off the podcast. I may have to change that.
I really can't remember what it was.
It obviously worked out.
Yeah, nothing detrimental happened. Whatever your worries were, whatever never came to fruition. Continuing on. I feel like a broken pot I'm trying to fix, but every time I take a piece back together, or every time I put a piece back together, I feel like he pokes it and it breaks all over again.
That's because he's your abuser and he's abusing you.
Okay. 7 Levels of Intimacy by Matthew Kelly. My opinion, very good book. My husband didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah, didn't care for it.
There were a couple of golden nuggets in that book for me. And one of those golden nuggets was the purpose of being alive, of waking up every single day, is to become the best version of yourself. And your partner, one of their sole drives should be helping you become the best version of yourself and vice versa.
Right.
The whole point of being in a relationship, whole point of being romantically involved with somebody, saying I do, agreeing to be life partners, whatever you're doing, you know you're going to be together till you die, is to make each other the best versions. If anything is happening besides that, reevaluate the trajectory of your life.
Right, course correct.
Continuing on. I am still at a loss. I want my husband back, but I will not be a silent wife either. Am I not supposed to care for myself as well? If you had watched most of the podcast, you would know the answer to that.
Right.
Yep. I have heard y'all say, put your spouse before everything else. Does that even mean myself? Not in abusive situations. Mm-mm. If I'm having a mental day and I want to be lazy and I don't want to do anything, and then my husband asks me to make him dinner, I'm going to get up and make my husband dinner. That's completely different from the only thing I'm thinking when I think about this email. Me and Mr. Jones by Amy Winehouse. At the very beginning of the song, she goes, what kind of fuckery are we? He holds so much resentment towards me. How can I fix that? Are there steps to take to not interfere at all anymore with the kids and him when they are getting in trouble? Well, if he's speaking to the children the same way he's speaking to you, they're being abused.
Yeah, you should be stepping into
100% stepping into that. You should be removing them from the situation.
What's the most important decision you'll ever make in life, babe?
The person you choose to marry.
Yeah. Especially when there's kids involved or you plan on having them.
I have even said we both have things we need to work on together and within ourselves, and he says he is not in the wrong about anything and nothing he needs to work on. Oh, I'd leave this man. I'd be deuces. I'm gone. I'm gone. I am gone. Nothing can be said. Nothing can be done. He thinks he's the greatest gift.
Yeah. This is the N-word abuse. This is what it looks like.
Yeah. Narcissistic, everybody. My mind went to the other one. I was like, babe, that doesn't make sense to me here. I have gone to therapy and worked through some childhood issues, but not everything, and I stopped going. I take meds for my depression and anxiety as well, but he says those are not real and just crap people make up. That if I can go from what I was in the beginning, sex all the time, I mean like twice a day sometimes, and laughing, etc., to one day it all shuts off, then I should be able to switch back to being happy and who I was. To me, that isn't a light switch at all.
If as a man, your duty is to lead your house and your house is fucked up, it means that you are failing as a leader.
Yes.
You don't get to make demands like this and fucking be a piece of shit and expect everything to just be the way that you want it to be.
Yeah. Continuing on, I appreciate what you all do, and the way you look at each other makes me happy. And I will say every time Peaches cries and talks about the way you make her feel, I cry with her.
You know the difference there? Can you read that again?
The difference is I'm crying because I'm happy and she's crying because she wants what I have.
That's it.
And that breaks my fucking heart. The love y'all have is amazing and hard to come by. I had that and just want it back. If you have any questions or need more context on something, I'm here.
I don't believe that you had that.
I don't believe it either because this would never devolve into that.
Right.
Never. I would never stand for that.
That book talks about a lot from people who get into abusive relationships where everything looks the way your relationship looked in the beginning, and it slowly devolved, slowly de-evolved into abuse. And those men are the same ones who go out and make themselves look really good to everyone else so that you look crazy. And like you really need to read that.
And nobody will believe you.
Right. You really need to read that book that I laid out earlier. It's called Why Does He Do That?
I hear from our daughter all the time that she can't wait to get married and she wants to have a husband and she wants all of these things because she sees what I get from you.
Which means she's not going to tolerate the other side of things.
I couldn't imagine our grown daughter coming home and saying, Mommy, I just want what you have and I can't find it. I would never want her to stay in a situation like that and think that that's going to turn into this. Why are you just looking at me?
Because I'm slightly emotional, but I'm trying, like my brain just went down a whole rabbit hole of things. And the thing that I ended on is going to come down to the way that we raise our children. We cannot want this for them all we want, but if we don't show them the proper way to be loved and how to love and to live that, they will fall down that rabbit hole.
That's one of my worst fears. It's one of my worst fucking fears.
And we are only one half of the equation.
I know. I don't want either of the children to feel like they're trapped in a relationship, especially if they have children and they feel an obligation or... You have a lot of influence on me as my husband. As being the man in my life, you have so much influence on me.
That's the point.
I mean, I look to you every day. I've been in that relationship where the person I was not a man, was not a leader, was not built to provide, protect, preside. I felt hopeless. I felt exposed. Right? Cavemen lived in caves for safety. In past relationships, I felt like a prime meal on display. Come and get it whenever you want to. There is no defense here.
You know that women going and being with men who do this kind of behavior and them being able to consistently find partners is the reason that they are able to do this. Because if women had a higher standard of men and stopped dating shitty guys, guys would stop doing this.
They would stop being shitty. They would recognize that they can't get what they want while simultaneously doing that.
Right.
You have to earn your rewards.
It starts in childhood with our parents and then continues into adulthood based off of the interactions that we have with the opposite sex or our sexual interests. Because it's not just in men and, it's not just heterosexual relationships.
We went to the Dollar Tree the other day, me and the kids. And we were standing in line. We got their holiday socks and whatnot. And there was candy at the checkout. And they both looked at me. And there were a bunch of people waiting in line. There were like 10 people. And there was one cashier. And they were like, Mommy, can we get candy? And I looked at them and I said, no. And they're like, Mommy, please, can we have candy? And I was like, what kind of day did you have at school today? And our son went, great. I was gold all day today. Got all my work done. I have no homework. I was like, you earned the candy that I'm letting you have right now because you had a good day at school. And I looked at her daughter, asked her the same question, and she ran down the whole thing. And I said the same thing. They picked out their candy. All eyes were on me. I looked up. Every adult was watching what I was doing. I fucked me up a little bit. But they grabbed their candy. We talked a little bit more. We goofed around a little bit. And a few minutes later, we moved up through the line. And I asked the children, why are you getting that candy today? Because we earned it. Because we had good days at school and we don't have homework tonight because we did it at school. And I was like, exactly. That relationship, this man has a wife. He has kids. Didn't earn any of it. Just happened to fall in his lap and he can continue being a piece of shit because it came here while I was acting like it. That's speculation on my end. That was not stated in the email, whether this has been a thing the whole time or not.
It hasn't. She said that it started off really good. It started off really good.
But what does really good look like? Right? Because if he wasn't calling you a bitch back then, but he was still raising his voice and being controlling about things, like...
I don't believe that was the case, though. It doesn't start that way. Narcissistic abuse doesn't start that way. It always starts out with everything being really good.
Love bombing and...
all of it. Because once they've got their hooks
special.
in, they can start to make you feel like you're not worth it and start to make you feel like you're crazy and like they start to gaslight you and all the shit that really plays into like true narcissistic abuse. And I'm not saying that this dude's a narcissist.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. I have no idea who he is or what he is. I'm saying that what he is doing is atypical of narcissistic behavior in terms of what abuse looks like from somebody that is a...
You mean typical?
Typical.
Not atypical.
Typical.
Atypical means
Typical.
not normal.
Typical.
Not in line.
It is typical behavior of somebody that does narcissistic abuse. Yes. And he may not be. He may not be a narcissist at all. He may have learned this behavior from his mother who was a narcissist or from his father who was a narcissist and knows that this is a great way to manipulate people and is using those tools to manipulate somebody. Right? That is possible. So I'm not saying he's a narcissist. I'm saying the things that he's doing is abusive behavior akin to narcissistic abuse.
You know, I don't mean this to sound shitty at all. I'm not calling this emailer a liar or saying that they made things up or anything. I have experienced in my own life a falling out. And that person running and telling everybody that I called them a bitch and a piece of shit and a whore. And that never happened. I have screenshots of our final conversations. There were no phone calls towards the end of it. Made up lies to continue to be the victim.
Because it's easier.
Because it's easier. And there's always a part of me that questions, did this actually happen? Or are you feeding into this because it's just it's more people to understand your narrative before the other one's shown.
Right. Because it's a lot harder to prove the other person lied.
Right.
Than it is to just tell the story.
Yeah.
That's why people are so quick to get their side of the story out.
Yeah.
It's also why when it's involving us, we're not addressing our side of the story.
Yeah.
If you need our side of the story, we're not close. Mm-hmm. Right? Because if it doesn't involve you, it doesn't involve you. It doesn't matter what we did or didn't do anyways. The relationships that we have with other people is just that.
Yeah. I'm about to say, it doesn't pertain to you. You shouldn't be asking me about this anyway.
Mind your business.
The fact that you're asking about this shows me you're a red flag.
Right.
The fact that you didn't shut that shit down in the moment and have my back says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm real big on that shit. Don't ask me why they said it. Tell me why they felt comfortable saying that shit in front of you.
Yeah.
I think I'm done.
Yeah, I am. I'm pretty pooped.
I want to go home and watch TV is really what it comes down to. I could do this for another hour, but
yeah, Lois.
Yeah, I want to watch Superman. I didn't think I was gonna like the guy that they cast for Superman,
I'm gonna be honest, me either.
but I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Last night was a really wild thing. So he has these
EMT.
EMT transmitters. They push it. He knows immediately who's calling and who's in danger, where to go. And through the last few episodes, they've shown people clicking it and they're like, come on, Superman. Come on, Superman. Where are you at? Where are you at? What's going on? And it takes some time. Last night, his wife hit it and he was there in a fucking second. I loved that.
Yeah.
I love that they showed that difference of importance to him. She pushed the button. The dude got one word out. She got one word out and he was through the fucking door. Like,
I actually caught that last night too, but now that you said that out loud and I'm thinking back on it, all the other places that he's gone, he's had to go across the world for. And I say that because when he went to the DOD to do the nighttime thing, it was nighttime.
yeah.
But where he was in Kansas, it was still daylight. So
Oh, yeah, that's a good
they
point.
show time fucked up in the show. There's flaws in the show.
Yeah.
But-
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I that's how I took that scene last night too, because it was instant.
Right.
That ain't gonna help you. And she's
Right.
like, he will. Boom. I was
Boom,
like,
like-
yeah, get him.
Right through the shit.
Yep. I'm not gonna lie. I am a Superman person. Like that was my childhood. I
Yeah.
have such an affinity for Superman. At one point, affinity. At one point, I was like Superman underwear, Superman comics, Superman Christmas ornaments, Superman fucking mud flaps on my truck. Like
Getting that bedding.
it was bad. That was adulthood.
I love
I'm not
that.
ashamed of it. He-Man and Superman were my childhood in Nintendo. But like that was it. I learned how to read by reading Berenstain Bears and Superman books. So I'm a Superman fanboy. So being able to watch this and see him be there for his woman and be there for his kids and to change the narrative of what the 1950s man looked like compared to the 2024 man, like there's just a lot. I'm actually really enjoying it. There are things about the show that I could do without. We talked about that a little
there's
bit
some
last
woke
night. But
bullshit in it, but
do you want to talk about the parenting thing real quick, because we are on two different sides of the coin on this?
I don't think we're on two different sides of the coin. I agree with everything that you say.
Do you want to do a separate standalone episode on this?
Yes.
Okay, good. That means we can wrap up.
you saying that we're on two different sides of the coin sounds like we have opposing views of the show.
No. You were very pro. I would have told him earlier, and I was very pro.
Yeah.
We would not have. So we are not on the same side of the coin.
Oh yeah, I would have done everything differently.
Right.
I really think Superman dropped the ball here.
There's not a right way,
And there's not a wrong way.
but I definitely think that there could have been
Better ways.
better ways. Right.
Yeah.
With that being said, guys, this is almost 3 hours. By the time it's edited down, it'll probably be 2.5 hours.
We've been going long recently.
I know. Well, this has been enjoyable again.
Yeah.
We have a whole lot of hands off now because of our team. And I think that our team is making this
Changed our lives.
better.
Changed our fucking lives.
So
Ooh, bouillon cubes are fantastic. If you guys, I'm so sorry. This is gonna be the last thing I say and then I'm done. For anybody who cooks or bakes, I'm so sweaty over here. Bouillon cubes, but in a paste. It costs more, but it tastes so much better. Like it's so much more potent, and it breaks down faster in the water. It boils so much faster. Yeah, you just gotta boil it. Yeah, it comes in a little tiny jar. I have the vegetable and the chicken bouillon. I love cooking.
And with that being said, guys, remember you are the author of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
And she loves cooking.